for Tuesdays with Tiffany Lewis. Tune in at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time to Be the Change, only on Clear Source Radio, where we inspire people soul to soul. Only on Clear Source Radio.
Greetings. Hey y'all. This is Tiffany H Lewis with Be the Change on Clear Source Radio, iHeart Radio, and Spotify. How's everyone doing? Big old question mark right there. Personally, I'm doing fantastical given the current situation. But I've got a lot on my mind. And I know I'm a positive person who always sends positive vibes out into the world. So therefore, tonight, I'm offering you positive, study, focus music on top of positive energy and chakra binaural beats. So, much like my brain, my computer has probably 8 tabs open right now. So there's 3 types of music playing on top of each other. And you're going to predominantly hear the piano, because the piano has always represented relaxation to me. What you don't know is that in the background, there's binaural beats. There are chakra beats that are playing, that are going to tap into your third eye, and that are going to make you stop or focus or think about something or focus on something. No, I don't mean any harm, and I do not mean this in a manipulative or deceptive kind of manner. That's why I'm telling you this up front. But I do think it's very important to, reach out to as many senses as you can at one time when you really want to gain an audience's attention. So I'm appealing to your chakras. I'm appealing to your third eye. I'm appealing to your emotions. I'm appealing to your hearing. I can't really appeal to your taste or smell, but other than that, this is a calm, safe, relaxing space. And I have a lot to say tonight. And I'm not sure if I should. Not gonna lie. If you've heard the last 2 shows, yeah, that was a deep sigh. If you've heard the last 2 shows, then you know I've got a lot to say right now. If you have not heard the last 2 shows, I encourage you to go onto iHeart Radio and look up last week's show and the week before that show. I believe that was 129.19 and also I was going to say 2.5, but then I realized it was the 19th. So it's 2.5 and the one after that, and now this is sort of part 3 of this specific segment, this specific series of what is going on right now. All right. Forgive me for taking drinks every few minutes. It's just one of those days. Sometimes you just need a drink, okay? I'd be lying if I didn't say that I needed a drink right now, or needed a drink to get through this show. I've got an hour with y'all. It is my job to inspire you, but it is my obligation as a human being, as an empath, as Tiffany, right? To be honest with you, be transparent to you, with you, for you. And, a lot of things have been trying to come between that. And without getting spiritual or without delving into a negative or negativity or, things that may cause, such as demonic attacks or spiritual attacks, etc., etc., etc. I'm just going to leave it right there. A lot of things are trying to come between me and my conversations with you on this show. Okay, now I've known that for a while. And anybody who's a loyal listener has also known that for several months at this point. Sometimes, most of the time, I lose my voice. The microphone goes out. I get a random echo out of nowhere. Strange noises start playing. Nobody can hear my show. I mean, the universe is a funny place like that. Energy, change, the flow of energy, the matrix that we live in, it's funny like that. When it doesn't want you to reveal something to humans, then it just kind of takes that away from you so that you can't. However, I'm persevering and I'm pushing through. So, bottom line, I'm doing okay. And I hope that y'all are doing okay too. On that note, I hope that you know it's okay to just be okay. I also hope you know that it's okay to have a really crap day. And I mean horrible, awful, terrible day, or a week, or a month. Maybe you've lost a loved one. Maybe you're grieving. Maybe you're depressed. Maybe you're going through something. It doesn't matter what the reason, and I'll never ask you the reason. But I'll always be here if you were to ever reach out and ask me, to encourage you in some way, or listen to any of my other shows, and you shall and will be encouraged in many ways. Okay, I'm a positive person. I always see the good side of everything. But lately being the past 3 shows, which means the past 3 weeks, God, so much negativity has entered into my life, and I feel as if I invited it. I mean, I feel spiritually attacked. I feel mentally attacked. I feel emotionally attacked. And that's fine with me. That's nothing that I'm not used to dealing with every day anyway. But, given the recent lunar eclipse, followed by the solar eclipse, a year ago? Changes in the universe are happening. People are finally starting to kind of wake up and see what's going on around us, and that we're kind of all these puppets, these robots, these sheep. We just get up, go to work, come home, eat dinner, go to sleep, wake up, set the alarm on snooze a couple times, get up, get dressed. Lucky if you're at breakfast. You're probably having breakfast as you're running out the door, driving, or into your car, about to drive, or whatever, dropping the kids off at school, spend your day at work, come home, do the same thing over and over and over again every single day. There's this monotony about life. And I didn't mean to insult anybody when I say sheep, because we're all sheep. And I didn't mean to insult anybody when I called us all puppets, because we are all equal and we are all puppets to the slavery of the existence of what we believe we live in. Okay, I'm not going to go too much into a tangent about that, or a tangent at all for that matter, because I'm not a 2-year-old and we're adults and we don't need tangents. But, at some point, one day you wake up and you realize, what's the point? What's the point of getting up and going to work every day? Well, and then you find out eventually that the point is, we are taught good versus bad, good versus evil, right versus wrong. Wrong always has this inevitable doom. And while I've never talked about this on this show before, I have every intention of bringing a little bit of it to light for you tonight. And before I go any further, I'm sorry, y'all, I can't speak. It's been a rough week, and like I said just a minute ago, something's always causing me to not be able to clearly and concisely and precisely give you my message, the way I intend to give it to you. And I accept that. That's fine. I don't care. As long as you hear, like, enough of this to make out the words that I'm saying, you know, much like dictation or autocorrect used to be, you know, as long as you get the point, it doesn't matter. So, again, I'd like to thank everybody who is a loyal listener, and I would like to take this time to thank everybody who will ever listen to this show, because the last 3 shows that I've done, to include this one, I mean, I really don't know how to put this. I'm a blunt, honest person who does not beat around a bush. I do not lie. I am completely transparent. I will answer any question honestly if asked in the correct manner. But if you beat around the bush with a question, I might not answer you directly. I don't know. But, you know, in 99.99999 situations, you ask me a question and I will directly answer you. And that goes as far as to include as an empath, as a psychic, as a person who internalizes everything around me. And I am like this like living sponge that just sucks in all the energy of everything around me, which is what makes it so hard for me to go into public places where there are people, because those people, whatever they're going through, is going to be exposed to me. And there aren't any methods to kind of defend yourself from whatever one is feeling. You walk in the room, you put yourself in that situation, and you know this about yourself. You know that you're a sponge. You know that you absorb everything. Therefore, if you choose to go there, you better have a really good plan in mind. Okay, you need to know where every entrance is, every exit is, everything. You know how many people are in the room. You're going to place yourself in a very specific spot in the room. You're never going to have your back against a door, but you're always going to have your back against the farthest wall, so you can see everything going on in the room, because you're trying to protect yourself from whatever may walk in that room. And that's any situation, any bar, any restaurant, any public location. That's just what we empaths must do to protect ourselves. But we also know that when we go out in public, it is a choice. It is a choice that we made of our own free will, and we know we're going to be exposed to it. So we isolate in that public situation. It's a lot like PTSD. I can say that, but anyway. Again, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. I know these last few weeks have been probably really rough for a lot of people. Okay, not probably. I know for a fact that these last few weeks have been very rough on a lot of people. And I'm not just talking about myself and what I went through. So, for those of you who don't know, I don't think that it's any business to put out there publicly, but I'm going to for just a brief moment. I've had some medical issues, and we'll come back to that. There's been a lunar eclipse that changed the way the wind sways, the way the world moves, the future. It's winds of change, you know. A solar eclipse and or a lunar eclipse, it darkens what should be light. It's a full moon. It's a full sun. It's to provide heat and light. And when you cover that up with a complete darkness, aka an eclipse, it changes things. It changes the patterns of things. To me, that's beautiful. Also, you don't know what that's going to mean until way after it's done. And that's, again, fine with me. I'm super easygoing. I go with the flow. I know to expect the unexpected. You know, I don't know that I care to control my life that much anymore, to the point where, a lunar eclipse or a solar eclipse is going to have that much of an impact on my life. I mean, the object is to change, because to change is to grow. To grow is to, develop or envelop into your best self, your best you, the best version of yourself, the best version of you. And in order to become the best version of yourself and or you must go through these trials and tribulations and phases and eclipses and winds of change and hurt and heartache and pain and death and grief and happiness and also innocence. Innocence is a really big part of this, because we all start out sort of innocent, extremely innocent. If I were talking about a baby, right? We're granted our innocence. But, then human beings have free will. So some human beings may be able to choose to take your innocence away from you, whether you want them to or not. And that's a whole other conversation. I just want to point that out. Okay, so those that are lucky enough to hang on to their innocence until they're ready, till marriage or whatever their virtue may be, that's beautiful. But in the world I live in, it's cruel, it's dark, and I'm not necessarily a dark person. I don't necessarily do dark things. I do not go out of my way to, draw the attention of dark entities. But then in the same token, you have to understand that I have this other radio show on Friday nights, which there's a reason I only do it maybe once a month. And it's because I expose things that are very, very dark, that most people are scared to talk about. However, I am not. And, I've had a lot of people put some pieces together for me recently and said, did you ever stop to think that maybe it has something to do with your Friday night show, Decoding the Unknown? It's on Clear Source Radio right now. It's on iHeart Radio right now. And I said, I thought I was kind of silly for thinking that. But when 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 people tell you that, hey, you probably should have said that out loud. Okay, well, A, you just gave me a reason to say it even louder. And B, clearly I knew what I was getting myself into when I said it out loud. I don't have much of an audience to my knowledge, or didn't at the time, when I began to talk about things that most people are afraid to talk about, right? Like an accidental supposed suicide, both with red scarves around their necks, or, witchcraft, or paganism, or Satanism, or making deals with the dark side, or whatever it may be. That list is like at least 100 nouns, pronouns, or, adjectives, words that can be put in there to explain, a person, or type of person, or maybe a place, even if that place is where they are in life, or a thing that they may or may not practice. So, that said, I'm dropping that right there. I knew better. I'm not stupid. I do talk about aliens, and I do talk about the Illuminati, and again, I'm not scared to admit that. I'm admitting it right now again. I don't care. It needs to be said. People are generally considered sheep. There are only really 3 types of people on this earth. There are the puppet masters who control us. Some of you may consider that God. Okay, and then with that God comes the darkness that if you don't do this, there is always this impending doom that you will burn in a fiery hell, etc., 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 or whatever. Live in purgatory. It doesn't matter. But in order to believe in God, according to most Christians or Christianity believes. Okay, maybe even Catholic. I don't know. I'm not going to go there. But if you believe in a God, then you must believe in the devil. And if you believe in God and the devil, then you must believe in white, black, good, bad, light, dark, right? So if you do this, you will ascend up to the light, right? All right, up into heaven, and where you will just like live happily ever after for all of eternity with all of your family members that you've ever lost to cancer or suicide or whatever the reason is. And then if you don't, you are destined, determined, and doomed to believe that you are on a road that is dark, that is going to lead you into a fiery hell, or a place, a purgatory that you can never escape from. And some even go as far as to believe that they believe in both of those elements. However, they believe that at some point during your purgatory, you're supposed to fulfill whatever your unfinished business is, right? And that's just, I mean, you can see that on any sci-fi channel right now. I mean, they have unfinished business, right? So finish your business and therefore, ta-da, you're out of purgatory. Whatever. This is not the point of tonight's show. I do realize I'm going all over the map, and please accept that I'm going to continue to go all over the map because I have a lot of things that have to say about multiple aspects of certain things that will, in the end, as always, form full circle for y'all and create a picture, a full circle, a full encompassed, closed circle picture, a relatable picture at that. So over here to my right, I've got religious people. You do good, you go to heaven. You do bad, you go to hell. Sometimes you get stuck in the in-between. And now that is true for anything, religious or not. Okay, some people just choose to stay behind or, haunt a house or whatever. Then there are those of us who are not satisfied with that being the only answer. There has to be more to life than that for this group of us. And I am in, if not in the next group, I'm at least at the very minimum in this group. The group where you have to know more. You long for more. You long for information. You long for knowledge. You cannot just accept that that's it. Good, bad, right, wrong, heaven, hell. Like, you literally cannot accept that. Even if the third opportunity is purgatory to somehow redeem yourself, and then you still end up in one of those two places, high or low. I mean, come on, y'all, come on. So, people like me, we question everything. We research everything. We learn everything about everything about everything. And some of you might hear us say the exact words to no matter what you say. Like, when people like me who are this inquisitive, who do not take that as the only final, totality of answers, can be broken down into those two things. Like, that's not good enough for us. So you're going to hear us say the words, I know. I know. And we don't just say the words, I know. We mean it. Because we know. Because we've already looked at it from that perspective. Okay. So religion to the right. The inquisitive, questionable ones over here trying to figure it out. This is the beginning of the awakening process. You're learning everything that you can learn. You're learning what this means and what that means. And you come to learn that humans, or whatever we are, because we just live on a planet like any other life form lives on their planet. And we're just, we just so happen to be called humans. So whatever. In our human world, there's a God and there's a devil, according to most. And you better be good, or you're going to end up in, fiery hell. Blame, your the things that you've done wrong, your sins. Repent for your sins. And I'm going to stop going on that level. I'm going to come back over here to the middle ground. The middle ground is where you might believe that. However, there has to be more than 2 or 3 options. There has to be. It can't just be a beginning and an end and a potential purgatory somewhere in between that is questionable and that you don't get to determine whether or not you want to partake in that, or maybe you do get a choice that you just choose. Dear God, give me another chance. I'll live in purgatory until I do your will. Okay, whatever your beliefs are. There's the second category, the one we're talking about right now. And that category lets us know that, like I said, that we're all sheep, we're all puppets. Okay, wake up, go to work, make a cup of coffee, get through your day, come home, see the kids, pick up the kids from school, kiss the wife, go to bed, get up, do it again the next day. This is a redundant, oh my gosh, every single day. The monotony of it, it just bores me to such an extent that it's almost unbearable to consider how many people just live. Okay, and you know what? I take that back. Just continue on to a day after day. Are you living or are you existing? Maybe you exist. Maybe you exist, and maybe you exist and you believe in good or bad, black, white, evil, good, whatever. Maybe you exist to be in the second category where you're still existing, you're still going to that job every day, and you're still doing the exact same routine that you do every day, and you're not doing anything different. And real quick right here, I'm going to throw in something for you. So the definition of insanity, which anybody who's ever done an honest 12-step program, they can repeat this to you as many times as I can. The literal definition of insanity, literally, is repeating the same mistake or behavior, the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. Okay, so what is the end result? One day you die, and are you afraid that you're going to go up above or down below? Is there an up above or a down below? Put the planetary system in line. You've got all these other planets. We've got Pluto, we've got Jupiter, we've got Saturn. And anybody who thinks that we don't have life on other planets, I mean, that's as dumb as them thinking that we don't have life on this planet. So, whatever. But that's the definition of insanity. It is literally repeating the same mistake over and over and over and over again, expecting a different result. So when we repeat ourselves, the monotony of our daily lives, even if that makes you happy, even if that makes you content, there's a whole other group of us that may be content with that being what a normal person, quote unquote, normal people do, right? Normal things. This is life. This is what we are imprisoned to. Go to work, come home, feed the kids, take them to school, kiss the wife, go to bed, the end. And then throw in free will, okay? And I'm not siding with that there is a God or there isn't a God or any religion in any aspect. But throw in free will, throw in temptation, and now that makes you start to question things. Okay, so I'm going to be careful what I say here, and I'm not usually careful with what I say, but for the sake of this argument, I really don't need any negative comments right now, so I'm going to respect those that are religious and that those are your beliefs and that is normalcy, etc. I'm going to open up section number 2 of at least 3. Section number 2, we may or may not believe that. I am not here to decide for you or anyone else whatever you do or do not believe. And there's a good chance you at least started by believing in that, but something struck your curiosity and you said, there has to be more to life than just this, right? So we become inquisitive, and we need to understand. We need a deep, I don't even have a word good enough for this, and I am very good with words. I am very good writing words, saying words, and describing things with the exact word that nails it to a T, basically. And I don't really have a perfect word for that. But we're a group. So group A, they're religious. Good, bad. Right, wrong, heaven, hell. Group B, whether you believe in group A or not, you have a yearning inside of you that tells you that there is something more to it. This cannot possibly be what we are put on this earth for, especially when you've got people such as myself, which are always telling you to do better and to be more optimistic and to be a positive person and to be better than you were yesterday, and every other possible cliche that anyone has ever said in all of history as we know it, or as it was taught to us in school. And that's a whole other topic. But for right now, all the Einsteins of the world, they leave us, and the artists, they leave us with these quotes or these words or these drawings that indicate your curiosity to understand on a deeper level. What is it that makes us do that? Why? Why do we comply? Why do we do that? And I'm not here to start a rebellion, because God knows we don't need any more rebellion, y'all. We don't need any more guns. We don't need any more walls. We don't need any more rebellions. I'm not here to start a war. I'm just saying and explaining that there are several categories of types of people and or personality types who have certain knowledge bases in whatever their beliefs are. So whatever they believe, that's what they know. Therefore, that equals their knowledge base. All right, so A, we have our religious folks. B, we have those that may or may not be religious, but long to learn more. Now, they research, and they start to learn things. And I'm going to move on to the third category real quick, because once one learns these things, they would be wise to not talk about it. But you know what? Maybe I'm not wise. I'm going to talk about it. I am. I really am. So we learn and we understand that we're all kind of these Hunger Game type of puppets and or sheep that are controlled by things such as TV, video games, internet. I mean, come on. How many people can say that they spend less than 6 hours on their phone a day? To the point where even I've put my iPhone on a timer and it tells me I was on it for 6 hours and 24 minutes. And I'm like, seriously? I was on Facebook for 10 seconds? I don't get on any other social media. I've deleted every single account. I'm not following where this 6 hours came from. But because you said so, iPhone, then I guess it must be true, right? Okay, well, I'm not that naive, and neither should you be. So, you've done some research. You've researched what most would call conspiracy theorists, such as Max Spears and or David Icke, and those two come to mind predominantly because they explain it better than anyone else. And you learn about underground bases. You learn about the truth, but not the direct truth, but obviously we all have our suspicions about Area 51. Okay, so you learn the truth. You obviously know that it is common sense that if we have the same living conditions on Mars as we do on Earth, why on Earth wouldn't we have life on Mars if we have it on Earth? Not the point. Point is, we live in a matrix. It's full of information. It's right here. It is hidden in plain sight. It runs through all of us. It courses through our veins. It is literally inside of our DNA, and our DNA decides where we stand as far as prestige in this world. Okay, there are those that are the elite, the blue bloods, the Kennedys, the Bushes, the Queen. I could go on, but I'm not gonna. But, some people are born into royalty, and some people marry into royalty. And most people will never get the chance to even consider getting the chance to ever meet, bow down to, or actually have a conversation with anybody in that category. Because that is the category. Now that's the awakened category taken 5 steps too far for the sake of this conversation. So the more you learn, the more awakened you become. And if you really, really, really want to know specifically with, there are 100 topics that you should know everything about if you are the curious type that fits in the little second category or box B, right? You can either A, be religious, B, you can be religious or not, and want to learn more. Okay, that's box B, that's where we're at. Or you can go over here to box C, level 3, whatever. It's not a competition, it's not a level thing, and learn about the true meaning of, Disney World and Pac-Man and aliens and life on other planets and the landing on the moon. And that's probably as much as I'm going to say, and the point of all this is that, guys, I'm not gonna lie, I have been put through some really scary stuff lately. It's affected me quite a bit. It's affected everyone that cares about me to an unreasonable, unfair, unquestionable, non-reversible amount of pain, excruciating pain, that nothing I could say or do could ever undo what has had been done or have had been done in the last 2 weeks of my life. So let me break it down real small, simple, and easily. I got sick a while ago. Started out as a who knows whatever I caught in Hawaii, right? Turns into norovirus. Made total sense because all the other guys on the ship got norovirus too. Fine. So that turns into organ failure, and being born with a rare organ disease that I did not know the name of. It was no surprise to hear that I had organ failure. It was no surprise to get sick in the first place. I mean, I don't get sick often, but this has been the most sick I've ever been in any given year of my life, aside from the year that I had pneumonia for almost an entire year. And that's horrible. But it's just been one thing after another, after another, after another. And hang on a second. Sorry, I was getting a drink, as usual. It's trying to take my voice away, and I just, whatever. We're getting through this conversation, y'all. I love you guys. You mean the world to me, and I will always be honest with you. If you were right now to go on to the last 2 shows that I did, February 5th and January 29th, I believe were the days. Anyway, it's right there on iHeart. It's right there on ClearSource. You can see the building up of what led to this conversation here tonight. Point being, I have been sick off and on since like the second I stepped foot back into Austin from Hawaii. And even if I was displaying symptoms on my last couple of days in Hawaii, which I have been told that I was, such as tiring easily or needing a nap, or maybe I was just burnt out. I mean, I'd been partying for a month in Hawaii on top of working with my 18-year-old at the time and, the love of my life. So that's a lot of action for somebody like me who just like the rest of us, works 20 bajillion hours a week. So I come home, I come back to Texas, and and I get sick, and I'm given a certain number of days to live. I live past those certain number of days. Everything's okay for a minute or two. And then I get sick again and again and yet again. This is at least the 5th time in approximately 3 months. All right. So here's what's changed. When I went to Hawaii on vacation with my daughter, and a very special person to me in this world, I ate these things called poke bowls, which if you've never had one, it is P as in Paul, O as in Orange, K as in Karen, E as in Edward. Look up poke bowl. The odds of you finding it in your area are slim to none. But if you knew what was in it, you'd figure out you could make it yourself. It's basically just sushi on top of a bed of sushi rice, or, there's multiple variations of it. But anyway, I lived off of that for a month. So clearly I lost 30 pounds in a month because all I was eating was raw sushi, basically every single day. Fresh, raw sushi right there in Hawaii versus it being shipped here to Texas. And even though they've opened 4 poke bowls here in Austin, just in my area alone, and they're wonderful. Do not get me wrong. But even they admit, Hawaii, that's where the poke bowl comes from. A poke bowl is rice. On top of that, you've got, raw or marinated tuna or salmon or whatever they put on it. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't care. It's wonderful. It all tastes the same. And I am a pescatarian, so I obviously eat some fish, but I'm not a sushi, raw fish eating kind of person. So anyway, enough about the poke bowl. I wanted to throw a little positivity in there so that now I hope I have appealed to your sense of taste. I said I wanted to hit all 5 senses. So that appeals to your sense of taste. Eat some sushi, eat some rice. You'll lose 30 pounds in a month, flat out. No lie. Perfect. It is what it is. I mean, you could keto diet and juice cleanse all day long, but there's something to be said for, things that are coming out of the water for us to eat. Anyway. All right, so back to the 3rd category. All right, the 2nd category, you have become so interested and so intrigued by every single word that you have learned the meaning of, and that it did not mean what you thought it meant. I'm going to bring up Disney World again. Okay, Disney World is 2 things. Disney World is like every single person's bucket list, wish list, especially children. Keep in mind how many people go missing from Disneyland or Disney World. Children, kids, right? So with that in mind, you've got people sporting the Mickey Mouse attire. You've got the shirt, you've got the sheet set, you've got the little hat that goes on your kid's head with the red hat or the black hat that's got Mickey or Minnie Mouse on it. And you've got a very clever, no longer with us person, Walt Disney, who created that platform, aka Disneyland / Disney World, which are in 2 totally different states, but all the same, where a bunch of children go missing all the time, bottom line. And then you've got people sporting it, and it's laughable once you understand the connection between a Mickey Mouse and the Disney World, and the children go missing, and the sex trafficking that comes of it, and it's all got to do with Mickey Mouse a little bit. That's sort of the symbol. And I'm not going to go into, I may talk about that on my Friday show, but today I'm not going to go into what the Mickey Mouse ears represent. I'm leaving that alone. And I'm going to jump back over here to the 3rd category. So you've learned a lot. And now you're really, really intrigued. Your interest has been piqued or heightened to the extent that you actually begin looking into these so-called conspiracy theories, such as Disney World, aka Mickey Mouse, and what that actually means. Okay, you start to notice that royal weddings and a lot of other, specifically music videos, rising stars, the top stars in the world, there are certain videos that they have to make and certain things that they have to do to earn their way up through the ranks, right? You learn that there are ranks, and you learn what those ranks are. So they start out like probably as a animal pattern, without being graphic, because this is a family-friendly show, and they slowly work their way up to, by use of, force of, the Hunger Games, the group of men that sit around the globe and put this here to distract you, and put that there to distract you, and put that on the news to distract you, all the while they are totally hypnotizing you. It's exactly why I don't watch TV or the news, because it's mostly subliminal. You know what? I'm going to make a confession. It's also why I'm playing this music. I had to check and make sure it was still playing. What you're listening to is a compilation of, literally, I've got 3 platforms open right now. I've got YouTube playing study, focus music. I've got another one playing binaural beats. And I have a third one playing binaural beats that specifically stimulate, open, and relate with your deep chakras and your third eye. So whether you hear me or not, my voice is coming through this microphone to you, and you subconsciously know these things now. Maybe you'll look into things, maybe you won't. I don't care. It's not up to me to decide what you do with your life. You believe in whatever you want to believe in, but at some point, if you wanted to learn more, you would begin the awakening process. Now that's where you wake up. You quite literally wake up from being a sheep. The person that just goes to work and comes home and goes to bed and goes to work and comes home and goes to bed. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Again. and I can't even say this with a straight face. So again, normal people. All right. Let's just pretend that those are all normal people, and there are a few of us that are not normal and are not satisfied with those being the only answers and or solutions. And, how's that helping the world improve? So I'm sorry, I cannot speak, and this is nothing new for me. The philanthropist inside of me, the inventor, the creator inside of me that likes to create solutions to things such as hunger or homelessness, etc., 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 and sex trafficking. Okay, well, you have to know all of those things that you're up against. And I don't think any one person gets to know all of the things. I think you begin to awaken, and you start at the very ground level of a ladder that climbs all the way up to the, diamond status, snake ring. I will even go so far as to say witch, or whatever your handler uses to control you. But most of us are puppets that want to become famous have handlers. Handler is a person that whispers something in your ear that brings out another one of your personalities, because you have been hurt at a very young age, that it literally shattered your brain into I don't know how many pieces. There's no real number on how many pieces, but bad things happen to you as a little child, and then it literally shatters your brain into fragments of pieces, which then become personalities. And again, call me a conspiracy theorist all you want. I don't care. It's not going to hurt my feelings. I still feel awakened, whether I'm hated for this or not. And if I get sick again over this, don't be surprised. Again, I've had 2 instances in which I've been given days to live. And I'm going to get off the Illuminati thing for a minute, and I'm going to go there. I became very public about what I had learned, researched, discussed, and really took to heart everything that I had learned about, such as the Illuminati or the Blue Bloods or certain cults or certain things that happen in everyday life that everyone's just basically like asleep or numb to. It's ironic because as human beings, we feel pain. And well, if we feel so much pain, why are we so numb that we can't even see that just waking up, getting up, going to your job, and coming home and doing the same thing, while that is considered normal, what says you can't go to skee ball every Thursday night at 8 o'clock? Why can you not break the monotony? Like, at all. Really. So I'm not suggesting anything wild or fiery here. I'm just saying, if you realize that that's what normal is, and that is what normal is, break it up a little bit. Break up the monotony. And I do not mean in a cheating, hurtful, disrespectful way. And I don't want to be blamed for anybody that takes this the wrong way. I'm just saying, add something new to your routine that helps your children and helps you all grow as a family, as a unit, as a parent, as a child of a parent, as a sister, as a brother. Okay? People say you only get one chance to live, right? Well, they're wrong. You get a chance to live every single day of your life. You only get one chance to die. You only get to become born once in the physical sense to that mother. You get to live every single day, all day, every day until that stops. And you only get to die once. Whether you believe in heaven, hell, purgatory or not, it doesn't matter. So, you've heard me talk a lot about life and living, and obviously the reason for that is because, to circle back around for a minute, I have twice been given days to live. Days to live. And I'm not going to attempt to put everything I know out there in one little show. If anything, this will be a 3-part show. But what's happening here right now in Texas is that there's brain-eating amoeba, and it is predominantly ingested through your nose. So wash your face with water. Okay, water here literally smells like death and decay and rotting of whatever was scraped up from the bottom of lakes and rivers, because we don't exactly have oceans here. So you've got lakes and you've got rivers, still bodies of fresh water, not even salt water. And somehow, all of a sudden, we get this fake tsunami thing a couple of months ago. I evacuated, came back, and it wasn't so much in the air anymore. And that's because the city had put a chemical in it to make it not smell so bad. And it was okay for like a day. So we were on a boil notice and don't use anything but bottled water and or boil water. Now, through my research of this brain-eating amoeba, which I'm not going to attempt to figure out the name of right now, just know that it is very rare. Your chances of survival are less than 1%. We've had 140 deaths already, just since September, October 2018 till right now. And also the last reported case of it before that was in 1937. So, and please note that the city of Austin here in the state of Texas is blaming it on something called zebra clams. A zebra clam is literally a clam with black and white stripes on it, like an oyster, right? And anybody with common sense is like, well, why would, an infestation of clams make your water and your life and your house and kill your pets and bring up this smell of decay and death? Well, why is because these still bodies of water began rushing one day, like 2-3 months ago. This weird tsunami-like effect happened, and I'm not gonna have enough time to go into how that happened or why that happened, but know that it happened, and know that I live atop the 2 major rivers, and there's only 3 or 4 right here, and I live right in the middle of all of them, and all of the bodies of water are gushing. Some may say that they opened, the floodgates, or city will tell you that they opened up a tunnel, and it's sewage, it's well water, it's nothing to be concerned about. The water's totally safe to drink. However, we're on a boil notice, do not use the water notice. And you don't even want me to go there about how excruciating that is in general. You're scared to give your pets this water. You should not drink this water. And this brain-eating amoeba, while it 99.99% of the time is inhaled through your nose, so you jump or dive into a body of water, you don't plug your nose or your ears or your eyes or any other crack, crevice, or opening in your body, and all of a sudden this amoeba comes into you, this bacteria thing comes into you, and it literally starts going up your spine and literally eating at your brain, and you're dead in 3 days flat. The end. So having been told I had 5 days to live, then being told not much long later that I had 3 days to live, having to make wills and basically plan my own funeral and some things and all of the things that I would never wish on anyone. But I also am grateful for the opportunity to have had my wishes known, because I wouldn't have thought about that if it were not for this. So anyway, the city's blaming these zebra clams. It's just a clam. But the truth is, it's a brain-eating amoeba. There have already been 140 deaths since, September, October. We're in February. September, October, November, December, January, February. And then you have the one report from 1937. So that's one case. And media is focusing on one case here as well. And that's fine. Blame it on this one case. Blame it on that one case. At the end of the day, you still have 140 people who have less than 3 days to live. And it's because of the water. You can't brush your teeth with the water. You can't wash your hands in the water. You can boil it all you want. But this kind of amoeba, it actually gets stronger with anything above 83 degrees. So really, you're just bringing it more to life. And you're just putting yourself more at risk. Anyway, guys, we're 56 minutes in. I know I've said a lot. It may not seem to have made sense how I went full circle here from the different aspects of what I wanted to introduce. And as I said, this is probably part 1 of 3. Granted that I'm, still here to have session 2 and session 3. What will happen is I will do Decoding the Unknown this Friday, and I will go way further into detail. So check that out on iHeart Radio Friday night at, I believe it's 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. It'll be live on Clear Source Radio at that time, clearsourceradio.com. Get the free app. Give it an hour or 2. I'll put it on iHeart. It'll be on there the next day. So if you get bored on a Saturday, just check out Decoding the Unknown by Tiffany H. or listen to any number of my shows here. Be the change. I'm out of time. I'm out of breath, and I'm sorry for that, but, I'm not expecting anything less right now. I'm out of time, and I wish you all the best. I pray that you don't live here. I pray that this water doesn't affect you. And I pray that you never have to deal with a city that literally blames it on clams. But whatever, not the point. Listen, I love you guys. I want you to have a great night. I want you to have a safe week. And I want you to change something about your routine. Okay? Monotony is fine. Go to work, come home, go to bed, eat breakfast.
Are you ready to be inspired? Are you ready to make positive changes in your life? Tune in to Be the Change, live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, featuring our heartwarming radio host, Tiffany Lewis. She's an empath, an indigo, and has a new and uplifting message for you. Every week, Tiffany can be heard only on Clear Source Radio, where people inspire people, from our soul to yours. You can get the free app today at clearsourceradio.com. Visit Tiffany H. Lewis on Facebook for even more daily inspiration.